So moving on to the final session of the day then. This session is called Working It Out. And here there's a focus on projects that sort of started in the gym. We've got three great guys here to share their work. We're going to have Lucky Stewart, founder of the Man That Can project in Toowoomba. We've got Warren Lepan of the Modern Man project on the Gold Coast. But our first speaker today down in Melbourne is Michael Murphy, who's the founder of Beyond the Barbell. Michael, you've got 10 minutes. Thanks for being here. Looking forward to hearing what you've been up to at Beyond the Barbell.
Thank you very much, Glenn. And can I just start with saying a huge thank you to AMHF, you, Glenn and Kim, for all the work that you guys have been doing since we started in 2019. I've had your email and we've gone back and forth a few times with you offering support and stuff like that. So thank you very much for the work that you guys do in the men's health space. So Beyond the Barbell, I had this idea for a men's group based in the gym for a long time, or something similar. My idea was something similar to Men's Shed, but instead of making things, we work out. So it probably wasn't until 2019 when I went through some trouble myself, losing my job and whatnot, that the group really started to form. I've been going to the gym since I've been 18. And I think subconsciously we had already started this group. So there was a bunch of guys that I go to gym with. We would make the gym every couple of days. We'd encourage each other during the workouts, bit of healthy competition between all of us. And like most men group, there was a lot of banter about footy teams and who lifted the most and whatnot. So the main thing about this group of friends of mine were the conversations we'd have after the workout. We'd all stick around for an hour or so after the workout talking about, what's happening at home, what's happening at work, what's stressing us out. And then when we'd leave, we'd have a group chat where we'd touch base, and if you missed a session, the boys would be on you. And I thought there's really something here. We need to formalize it. So that's where Beyond the Barbell came through. So our main mission is to create a group for men to get together, to get the benefits of physical and mental, and connecting with like-minded people at the same time. So we've been going from 2019. Before COVID hit, our main kind of way to get guys together was through events. So we would run events where we'd have a workout, we'd have a big group workout, we'd have some food, and then we'd have some guest speakers. Over our time, we're pretty lucky to have some pretty cool guest speakers come along, including Cameron Oates, who's from You All Right, Mate. He's based on the Gold Coast at the moment. So he lost his brother to suicide. So he came in and shared his story and his thoughts on men's mental health. We had Tom Downey, who was a former AFL player who came to one of our events, talked about his anxieties around playing football and how he managed that. We had Chris Anstey, a former NBA, NBL basketballer, who he spoke about the importance of his mates with his mental health. And we've had Carl Nelms, leading men's health psychologist down here in Melbourne, who gave his opinion on, I guess, the state of men's mental health at the moment. So our main thing at the moment that we do is we run a couple workouts a week at a local scout hall down here in Melbourne, in the northeast of Melbourne. For us, and this is what we tell the guys, the main thing is that we're connecting with like-minded men. All the men that come, we've all got something in common by we showed up that day. The workout's almost secondary to getting the guys together. Our group, it ranges from, we have an 80-year-old that comes. He wants to do everything that everyone else does. I guess that's where that men's competition comes in. He sees, the younger guys doing burpees and lifting certain weights. He wants to do it, and sometimes we have to pull him back. And our youngest is a young fella who's about 21 years of age, and he suffers from social anxiety, and we got him along, and now he's really a part of the group. He feels really a part of the group. He talks to everyone. He talks in our group discussions and everything, which is awesome. So we have a wide range. The majority of the people that we work with, though, will be that 35 plus, which is, and I know a few guys discussed it before, that you're starting a young family, you've left your sporting club, your footy club, your basketball club, whatever it is, and you're kind of missing that connection. So that's kind of where I sit at the moment. You know, I've given up my sport and we've just started a young family, and you kind of miss out on that social interaction. So that's kind of where the main group is at the moment. A big part of our sessions are our stretch circles at the end. So we do our workout and then we get together and have a stretch at the end in a big circle, and we really encourage conversations. And to do that, we have these little workout cards that have, I guess you could call them conversation starters. And most of the questions are around, you know, gratitude, resilience, kindness, and we really try to get the conversation going. We always give the guys an option not to share if they don't feel comfortable sharing the question they want, or if they want a different question. We never pressure anyone to do that. But most of the time we find that everyone is happy to talk or happy to share a story. So examples of the question, you know, it could be simple as, you know, what's something that made you smile today? And then we really talk about the gratitude of that. You know, how lucky we are to be able to experience that every day. You know, another question we have is, you know, what's a win that we've had this week? Just name one win that we've had this week. And sometimes these questions will lead on to something a bit more. We have as I said, we do resilience-based questions. You know, name a time that you had to overcome a hardship that made you stronger. And the guys will usually think about it and they share their story. Sometimes everyone gets a question each. Sometimes we find we only need to ask one question, and a lot of the group will answer the same one. We try to go around. But a lot of the time it'll be, you know, and I'm sure the guys will be happy for me to share this. One of them shared about his father passing away, and then the conversation kind of rolled on to, I've been in that same situation and this is how I dealt with it, and this is how my friends helped. And then someone else piped in and kind of said, you know, if you ever need anything, you know, I lost my father too, and this is how I dealt with it, and stuff like that. So we find giving the guys an opportunity. It's funny that we always, you know, people kind of, guys don't want to speak, but I think they do. They're just never really given an opportunity, a safe space to do it. So we do that. And it gives me goosebumps. Like, just thinking about it now, it gives me goosebumps about the times that we do talk. So, and one of the great things about it is, you know, we usually allow 15 minutes or so before we get kicked out of the scout hall for the next group. And we'll find that the group sits in the car park for another 15 minutes, 20 minutes talking about whatever it is, which is unreal. That's what we wanted. When we first started, our main goal was to have men feel like they are a part of something, just like you're a part of a sporting team, part of a club. We are well on our way to achieving that goal. We have Facebook groups, we have group chats, all the guys get together. We do an annual trip now that we get away down the coast. There's about 10 of us that go, and it's the same sort of thing. It's, you know, we have 10 guys that if you put them in a room, you'd say there's no way these 10 guys will get along. You know, there's young people, there's older people, there's people that are into heavy metal rock, there's, you know, people with families of 8 and 9, but we've all got that common thing now that we're a part of this group. And yeah, it's funny, we are a workout group, but that is secondary to really what we are trying to build here, which is a community, a group, a club. But I'm pretty sure, well, on my time here, I've got 1 minute left. So I don't know if anyone's got any questions, or we can wait till the end there, Glenn.
We'll do the questions at the end. So any final thoughts you want to wrap up with?
So at the moment, we're looking to expand. We really want to move into youth as well, young men. with youth, just trying to mentor them up with the group that we've got now, give them a sense of purpose, you know, get them off the streets, give them something, you know. It's easy to appeal to young guys because they all kind of want the six pack and the big chest and the big muscles and stuff like that. So that's our next step with our group, is to kind of pair them with our men and do some sort of kind of mentorship.
Wonderful. Great work you're doing, Michael. Great to hear where you're up to. It's been wonderful to watch the program grow and evolve over the last few years, and we look forward to hearing more from you in the Q&A session.
Cool. Thank you, Glenn.
Great. Thanks. So our next speaker is Warren the Pan. Warren is the man behind the Modern Man Project down on the Gold Coast. I will say no more about it because he knows a lot more about it than I do. I'll just hand over to Warren and say, welcome, Warren. Thanks for being here.
Thanks very much, Glenn. Hi to everyone. I've got a couple of slides. Do I just share and go, or do I need access, or I've got a host now? Okay, cool.
Yeah, you should be able to share now.
Awesome. Okay.
I'll just listen out for Liam jumping in if it's not working. No, you're on. All good.
Working. Okay. But I haven't. Let me stop in a second. I'm just trying to work out how to have it maximum screen.
If you just click the play button and then come back to Zoom and then share the full screen version, that will usually work.
No, I can't. I don't have any buttons now. I can't see.
I think we're all right with the smaller screen version then. It does look pretty good. Yeah, I think we get away with it.
Okay, now where's Zoom gone? You know, I did a dummy run on this. Always the case. Okay, there we go. Right, share it. Okay, is that clear enough?
Yep.
Okay, cool. All right, okay, let's start again. Hi guys, so firstly, again, I just want to say thank you to yourself and everyone at AMHF for having me on today. I must admit, like it's been really good to discover what you guys have been doing. This is it's fairly new to me. And I will say that in my kind of circles with what I do as an online coach and the people that I kind of associate with, not many people are on the kind of level that we seem to be on here. So it's very good to be a part of this. This is exactly what I've been looking for. And it kind of aligns with what I'm doing. So just a bit of an intro then. Obviously at the outset, what I do is very kind of physical based, but it has more of a personal meaning to me in terms of trying to help people with their health long term. So the hook is the aesthetics. It's getting into shape, it's getting lean, it's building muscle, and those aesthetic goals can be whatever they are to each individual. It's not necessarily everyone trying to be a cover model, but that seems to be the hook that tends to get people in. And once I have them in, I'm able to kind of work with them on more meaningful, more sort of longer term health aspects. So just a little bit about me, just quickly, 30 seconds. So funny accent, I'm originally from South Africa, spent a lot of time in the UK, and I've been in Australia about 5 years. So people tend to say my accent is a bit of a blur of all three, but I don't know, it tends to change a bit. But so my background is not actually fitness. I haven't been in fitness my whole life. I was in the military, then went to work in finance, didn't really like that, and then came into coaching about 4 or 5 years ago. I originally started as a PT, moved into online coaching when the pandemic hit, and then kind of discovered how much more I felt online coaching could offer to people rather than just PT. So I've stuck with that for a couple of years. Originally just coached anyone and everyone, but in the last 6 months or so, towards the end of last year, I launched the Modern Man Project with a view to just sort of helping, I guess, a age group of men that I feel is largely neglected, that being sort of, that sort of mid-30s to mid-50s age group, which is, where I sit. There seems to be everything, all kind of programs out there for, young kids, and all kinds of programs for pregnant moms and, female different brackets. But our age group tends to be a bit neglected. So I'll show you, just jump in here. So this to me is, if I were to say, why did I start Modern Man Project? This picture kind of sums it up. And although you might be tempted to be a bit critical and use some harsh adjectives here describing this guy, I don't see someone here who's lazy. I don't see that at all. I see someone who's trapped in a routine, potentially working too hard, giving a lot of time to their family, to their kids, basically in the week. And this is a situation which they end up in at the weekend. And unfortunately for guys in their 30s, 40s, and 50s who are not kind of, I guess, I'm 36, we just kind of missed the social media bracket. So for us, it's a bit of a barrier, and guys that might be slightly older than me. So going out and finding help on social media can be a bit hard. And I say social media, that you could expand that just to say finding help online, I guess. So potentially the only route might be personal training. But I guess with what I do, I want to stress that that's not the only route to go, and that there's a lot of potential, I feel, in online coaching. So I guess just looking at the barriers then to a healthy lifestyle for this, these are going to overlap and they're going to be for everyone really, but obviously specifically to this group that I'm looking at for Modern Man Project. Obviously time, money. I'm not going to go into too much detail here because I really wanted to open up some dialogue towards the end of this, so I'll kind of just briefly go through. But it's usually, it's the big things there. The only thing I would point out and just add to that list there is the difference between confidence and self-esteem, which I found from working with a lot of guys. They're often banded together, and I feel like there's one kind of thing that's worth just pointing out, just to differentiate them. The confidence, obviously, and the ability to succeed. A lot of guys that I work with don't envisage themselves succeeding because they have potentially tried a lot of shortcuts or diets or just all kinds of stuff that's around them that they're seeing on TV or on social media, and that hasn't worked in the past. So that's not their confidence. Perhaps they think that it's their fault, which is absolutely not the case. So that's one aspect, and then which is very common. And then self-esteem is another one. I think this is a big one as well, which is am I worth investing the time in? So a lot of guys that I have worked with have devoted the whole week to their family, their job, their employees if they're in a business, or etc. Just their, and not enough time to themselves. And I think it's a bit of a catch-22 because obviously the perception is, well, I'm giving so much, but that lack of health standard for themselves is also taking away from the family ultimately, potentially, especially with kids and whatever, and not having energy and sort of being in that position like this, at the weekend. So just a brief thing about online coaching is I don't imagine a lot of people here, might know exactly what it is. There's a huge range out there. Unfortunately, there are a lot of gimmicky, I guess, cookie cutter type things. And what I'm trying to do here is differentiate that with different. So I think the benefits of it is that it's available to everyone. You don't have to be near a gym. A lot of my guys train at home purely because obviously with the pandemic, they're working at home now. They sort of have a role in childcare and all that kind of stuff, and that's now become a part of their lives. So it's very difficult for them to now break away from that. It's potentially going to be there, around for a long time. So they can train at home. I believe it's cost effective compared to personal training. It's sustainable as well because ultimately a lot of the guys that come to me that are, looking to improve their health. And that's primarily through weight loss, at least initially. They're not going to be 8 weeks or 10 weeks or 12 weeks away from success in that area. So they need to be able to find something they can sustain for 6 months, a year, maybe even more. I've had guys that have been on board now for 3 years, literally have lost almost half their body weight. Holistic approach, so we're able to cover a lot more things other than just calorie deficit and food and that kind of stuff. There's no real limit to what I've kind of worked with my clients. And I think it promotes a bit of independence as well, because PT is very good. It definitely has a role, I think, in getting people, moving, getting people started. But there is a potential for it to create a bit of a reliance. And I have seen sort of less, I guess, not ideal relationships with personal trainers where it's almost it's like eat what you want in the week, do what you want in the week, and we'll work it off during the session. Obviously, the PTs there rubbing their hands because they've got business then indefinitely, but it's not so good for the client, I don't think. So I think just a little bit about the situation that I guess you guys are going to be infinitely more aware of this than myself, but this is what gets me going. This is what sort of motivates me to do this. I feel that for a lot of guys, a healthy routine, they should seek out a healthy routine to complement their lives, because an unhealthy routine, is hindering their lives now. It's making life more difficult. Joint pain, back pain, fatigue, all those kind of things, stress. Obviously, we've got the classic figures. Obesity rates are increasing exponentially, but also other things as well, like less talked about insulin resistance, hypertension, and metabolic disease. Testosterone is a big one, a huge one. A lot of the guys that I work with have low testosterone or lower testosterone, suppressed, not necessarily below the lower limit, but their weight is affecting their levels. And that's potentially what's causing, sapping the mood and causing anxiety and depression and a couple other things. So yeah, I think to sum it up as well, just skipping over one there, I feel like today we're almost having the typical role of a male role model is diminishing. And that's obviously, that's a bit of a sensitive issue. To some, I feel that it's required. I think that boys need, and girls to almost equally, but we need strong male role models in society. That doesn't mean that someone needs to have a six-pack. Absolutely not. Or they don't need to have muscles or anything like that. But I think having a healthy lifestyle and embodying that lifestyle, and then obviously demonstrating the benefits that come from that lifestyle, like increased confidence and productivity and happiness and that kind of thing. I think those things are important. And it's difficult as well to differentiate those, because most people will assume, or some people assume, sometimes it's just about getting in shape, what I do, but a lot of the time those are the important things. And then just a little thing there, I guess, also slightly controversial, but I feel it's very true. The saying that good times bring weak men bring hard times. So I feel that with the situation today, with everything going on around us, it's a pressing issue.
1 minute to wrap up, Warren.
1 minute, yeah, sure. So the method there is basically I work one-to-one with clients. They have a lot of access to me, and I feel that having that understanding of the individual barriers and being able to discuss with them on the phone helps them implement the routine. So a lot of them will come and say, well, I want to do this sort of trend diet and this workout, this HIIT session, or burn all these calories and stuff. And I say that's all well and good, but if you can't keep it up, obviously it's not going to benefit you, and it could actually have an adverse effect. Just then quickly, where I want this to go in terms of the future is, obviously this is only 6 months in. I'm still fairly new here in Australia myself, but I think education in schools is something I really want to get behind in the future. I think that, at 30, 40, and 50, absolutely we can relearn things, but it's a lot harder. It's a lot easier and a lot more cost effective to teach a 12-year-old how to eat and what to stay away from and really focus on that in schools than try to, treat the effects from that when they, are overweight and older. Government level endorsement, I guess, grants for projects like this from the government. Prescriptions, I think that something like this could be prescribed by a doctor. I don't know if it's possible, but to me, it makes more sense to put someone up with a project like this, any of these projects that have been discussed today, because that would be cheaper for the government again than, potentially like a gastric band surgery later on in life or a heart operation later on in life. So something like that, just a bit of forethought there. And because mine's been online.
Wrap it up, Warren.
Yeah, last thing, I guess I want to move into an in-person environment. Because of the pandemic, I've been doing since the pandemic, I'd love to actually set up some face-to-face groups with us in the future.
Fab. Great work, Warren. I know you could have gone on another 10 minutes and it would have been fantastic, but we're working with a limited amount of time. So stick around because there'll be some questions, I'm sure. Thanks for sharing that. You did an awesome job.
Okay.
So our final speaker of the day, last but not least, as they say, is Lucky Stewart of the Man That Can project, who's been building an awesome community of men in Toowoomba in Queensland over the last few years, and is here particularly to share about the work he's doing through his Strong Men of Value Academy. Lucky, over to you.
Thanks, Glenn. Thanks for having me on. And Warren and Michael, great to hear what you gentlemen are up to. I look forward to having a yarn with you guys later on. So I guess we'll dive straight into it. And it's a cool initiative that it's now been recognized to get men moving and the impacts that it can have on it. And essentially with the Man That Can project, we really focus on helping men build strong minds and strong bodies. And what I guess we'll touch on just over the next 10 minutes is how exercise can be a great vehicle to engage with other blokes, so building community. Secondly, the ripple effect of taking care of your physical health, how it can impact confidence, energy, vitality, and various other things like that. And then thirdly, how being in a men's community can enhance overall well-being. So for me, when I launched the Man That Can project, I guess back in end of 2016, 2017, it was coming from a place of I was lacking something in my life, and that came from playing professional sport and then being sort of kicked out and having nowhere to go after that. And I just had a real burning desire to be able to network with men from all walks of life who were successful parents, successful in business, had great health and just amazing lifestyles. And I wanted to be able to ask them the questions of what it really took to achieve that. But I also wanted them to be able to tell me what was really going on, like the challenges that they overcame, the sacrifices, the regrets, all of that stuff, so that I could, not end up where I was at that point in my life. And that then launched me into running men's groups, men's circles, and it just built from that. What else can I do for these men? So we have built a community of about 1,200 blokes all around the world. So we run workshops, obviously Brisbane, Toowoomba, Gold Coast, Melbourne, and Sydney, and then have other stuff going over in the UK. But what it really highlighted for me with the exercise was during the men's group, while it was a great place for men to talk about what was going on in their life, and it was really incredible for them to work on their mental and emotional well-being and being able to really speak about what was going on in their life. A lot of them were coming in with poor health, low confidence, body dysmorphia, and all of that sort of stuff. So there was two issues there. And as someone who had, I guess, never dealt with being overweight or anything like that, coming from a professional sporting background, it led me to want to sort of be able to marry the two together, because I believe the healthier we are, the fitter we are, the more confident we feel, and the more we have to really give of ourselves for other people. So realizing that the sport aspect really broke down a lot of barriers for blokes. And the main reason that I've seen is because it builds rapport, right? The hardest thing for a lot of us to do in today's society is connect with new people. We hide behind these mobile phones and everything else going on, that we really lack the ability to say, hey mate, how you going, and build, unless it's over a beer, right? Which, isn't always the best thing for a lot of us. So by putting blokes in an environment where they're challenging themselves physically, instantaneously you've built rapport, because we have a common objective. We're working towards something, we're sweating together, right? So you turn to your mate and you go, this is bloody hard, isn't it? Or I'd rather, I need a stretch, or whatever it is. And so the relationship's built. So building that community through exercise. The second benefit of getting the blokes into the community via, I guess, physical activity is it gets the body moving and it releases the feel-good hormones. We all know how good it feels when you get up first thing in the morning, shake your body out, you go for a jog, whatever it may be, yoga, but you just feel better about yourself. It just has that incredible effect, which is what we want people to do, because we may not be able to control that first thought. I know I woke up this morning feeling pretty average, but when I got outside and went for a walk, I started, being able to feel quite good. So that's what we're really encouraging the blokes to do there. And thirdly, one of the most powerful things, and I know this coming from a sporting background, it really enables us as men to be able to express ourselves vulnerably. Prior to sport, or even finishing sport, the only time I really cried was when I lost a grand final or got injured. Up until that point, there was no space for that. And you get to watch sport, or you get to, we do a lot of endurance events. You get to put yourself in experiences where it's quite challenging, and the emotions start coming out, whether it's through satisfaction and accomplishment, whether it is through injury or, setbacks. it brings it out, and it's an environment where we can do that. And because we're doing that with, I guess, men who are more emotionally aware because of the other stuff that we go through, you can then start talking about that. How come it's okay for you to talk about your anger, your disappointment, your satisfaction, or your frustration in regards to your health goals, but why not with your relationship? Why not with your business? Why not with your social circle? And so by linking all of that up, it's such an incredible way to get blokes engaged and drop that barrier. So you get the tough, I guess I'm coming from the rugby background, that environment where they can then feel comfortable talking about what else is going on in their life. So that obviously leads me to the point two that I was going to share with you guys, the ripple effect of taking care of yourself physically. I don't know about everyone on the call, but when I drink alcohol, have poor sleep, and don't take care of myself, my mood swings are insane, and my wife does not like it in the slightest. So one of the things that we look to get people focusing on is, not just obviously physical health from getting in the gym and pumping iron. It's, are you getting your sunlight? Are you sleeping well? How's your hydration? Because all of this actually impacts your performance in other areas of your life. And the beautiful thing about, let's say you've set a goal to get 100-kilo squat. The process of setting a goal, building a plan, having commitment is the same process that you go through for fixing your relationship, building your social circle, working on your mental health. It's the same process, just a different plan, right? So there's that ripple effect there. And for a lot of blokes, it obviously impacts their confidence, builds their purpose, gives them more energy and vitality. So they are more enjoyable to be around for the people that love them the most, which is, in my opinion, the most important thing from a holistic standpoint, just making sure the energy that you have to give your family is not exhausted from a day's work. The second thing from that is obviously it helps us build routine. So overwhelm is one thing a lot of us experience. So giving people a bit of routine to start their day and a quick instant win, right? It feels amazing when you get that first tick off the list. You're feeling energized, and obviously you got a little pump on or a little sweat on, and you feel good about it after that. And then obviously, as I sort of briefly touched on, it builds confidence in yourself, your ability to actually set a goal and stick to a commitment. And I guess when you walk past the mirror and you know that the work that you're putting in daily, the small, consistent daily efforts paying off, it feels incredible, right? And, we can talk about weight loss, muscle gain, all that sort of stuff, but all of that to me is really irrelevant. It's more so giving blokes their quality of life back, to be able to be better dads, to be able to feel confident walking down the street, to be able to, kick the footy with their kids. Like, that's what we're doing it for. That's sort of our demographic, so to speak. And that's why, educating blokes around the physical, or the ripple effect of physical health and how it flows onto their life is a beautiful thing. The final point, how being a part of, the men's community can enhance people's well-being. As I said at the start, the one thing I craved was access to men from all walks of life who were successful dads, business owners, healthy people, and had incredible lifestyles, and so much more, because I wanted that for myself. I realized from a young age, because I pursued professional rugby, that when you achieve that, that's not the be all and end all, as most people realize when they earn the money, they earn all that sort of stuff. There's more to life, and I sacrificed relationships and mateships and so much more along the way in pursuit of that. And I see that every day now. A lot of blokes who sacrifice their families, they have the dad bod because they've pursued their career, which, nobly so, it's for their own reasons, but now at a point in their life where their wife doesn't want to talk to them, they don't have a good relationship with their children, and they're going, what is going on? I thought this was supposed to improve my quality of life. So we built our community, and we really focus on 4 pillars to enhance individual well-being through having a stronger mind and also a stronger body. The first point being muscle. And it's not just focusing on obviously pumping iron, it's the muscle is the goal. Is the muscle you want to work on. And we work through 12-week game plan. So every bloke who joins our community sets a goal, and they go through their lifestyle report card first, which is they rate themselves out of 80. So 10 points for their mental health, their physical health, their intimate relationships with friends and family, their work, their finances, lifestyle, and sleep. You get a score out of 80. And obviously what is recommended is the lowest one's probably going to be the one that you need to put some time in over the next 30 days to 90 days. And we build a muscle around that. So it could be, you know, I want to improve my relationship. That's impacting me when I go to the gym. It's impacting me at work. We set a goal based around that. It might be a weekly date night. It might be spending 10 minutes together, going for a walk and communicating. But that's what your goal is. That's what your focus is. But then you get to get into the gym with the boys or with the blokes and, you know, get your sessions in, talk about what's working well with your goals. Maybe if you're having any resistance towards your goal, if it's not going to plan, because you're getting that peer support feedback, which in my opinion is the most important, because we do have a lot of science, we do have a lot of data, but one thing that's missing for most of us blokes is that empathetic connection, because I can Google how to improve this. I can Google how to improve all kinds of things. But when a bloke stands next to me and goes, mate, I've been through that and this is exactly how it turned out for me. This is what I experienced. This is what I did to improve that. Or maybe they haven't improved that. I feel heard for the first time, and nothing feels better than that. So once we've got their muscle sorted, we get the momentum. What's the action step that they need to create? Because you can talk about all kinds of things. If you don't take action, then it's quite irrelevant. So we help them build momentum, build that plan for the next 12 weeks around how they're going to achieve that goal that they've spoken about. Quite simple. Thirdly, is we get clear on the meaning behind why they want to do things. It's very easy for us to, I guess, fall into the stereo or adopt beliefs from people that I need to earn this much money. I need to set my life up this way. And the reason why I feel so many of us are struggling is because it doesn't line up with who we are as individuals. So when we can find out the meaning behind why we really want to achieve something, it lights a firecracker up under people's backsides and gets them engaged and gets them excited to work towards something. And finally, which is what our whole community is built around, is the mateship. Pillar 4 is being around like-minded individuals who are going to support you, challenge you, and hold you accountable to achieving the outcomes that you've got. So once the blokes are onboarded, essentially with their game plan, we put them in a Man in Momentum accountability group, which is a group of 10 men, which is their crew for the next 12 weeks. They introduce themselves via video. They do their weekly calls together. And once again, every week they have their game plan, talking about their intentions, tasks, things that they're grateful for, things that they're improving, and what they need to work on with their fitness, so their mood, energy, and various other things like that. So that's how we use peer support to really, I guess, help all of us improve. Because if one of your mates is not in the chat, if he's not showing up on the calls, we bang home it's your responsibility to make sure he's working well, because without the support of your mates, then what do you have?
All good, Lucky.
That's me. Thank you.
Beautiful. Great. Thanks for sharing that. Wonderful to hear about the so many projects today, just how that sort of social connection and creating a community of blokes that support each other adds so much value to the process of exercising. So we've got a few minutes for any questions. Raise a hand if you've got a question you want to ask. If not, I'll pose a question myself, and then just to sort of get you prepared, we are going to go to the final straight away after this session. So we'll announce the shortlisted project from this session and the previous session, and then we'll get Ben from Bulk Nutrients when he joins us to pick a winner for the day. But let's stick with our guys. Look, I know what I'm going to ask. Yeah, like me, you guys are really ripped, hey? And you too, Bruce. Nice. Show us the guns. But seriously, blokes like me who aren't so ripped, it is confronting getting involved in kind of, physical exercise in a group. It can be, certainly is for me, going into that sort of group setting where I know I'm going to be one of the weakest blokes there, unless it's a legs day. I reckon I could take you on a legs day because of all the cycling I do. But if it's anything core or upper body, I'm going to get shown up. So how do you guys sort of break down the barriers for those men who'd really benefit from what you're doing, but for whom just like the whole idea of a sort of a gym exercise environment would be terrifying, frankly. And I'll come back to Michael, our first speaker, first.
Yes, it's a really good question, Glenn, and it's the $1 million question, really. If we could kind of figure out a way to get everyone down past that kind of intimidation stage. So what we do is I offer them one-on-one sessions. So I do have a garage gym at home, and I tell them to come down. And I said, I'll show you all the exercises we do. I'll show you what, what to expect. All our programs are catered for all fitness needs. So the fittest person and the least fittest person can all do the group. As I said, we've got an 80-year-old that comes to our sessions, and his goals with the session is going to be different to someone else. So we're super clear with the guys that come that, and I always say this when they walk in, I said, you've already won because you've showed up. Regardless of what you do between now and when you leave, you're going to get some sort of exercise. Even if you do one set of every exercise, you're going to get. So we really try to make a point that just by being there and being just moving, you've already won, and you're going to get something out of it.
Great answer. What about thanks, Michael. What about you, Warren?
Yeah, I mean, it's obviously something I don't get to deal with because I'm largely online with clients. But just from, I guess, from working with people in the military and stuff, I mean, I think it's important to stress that it's your own individual journey. And of course, it's easy to look across and see other people's performance and see them at different stages of their journey. I think I just try to remind guys that you're on your own journey, and that's the only thing that matters. That's, you're going to be progressing at a different rate, and you should never try to compete with anyone else or, feel inadequate in any way. That's the only competitions in the mirror. That's it.
Great. Good answer. And back to you, Lucky.
I'd second what both Warren and Michael said. I feel, if we break it down, so we're mainly online with the programming and everything like that. So if they can jump on there and just set some benchmarks for themselves in their own home, whether it's, for someone who's never really stepped foot in a gym, it might be just 5 minutes of squats, push-ups or whatever, and just moving through and trying to increase the rep. But it's more so about giving them some progress, a simple way to get progress, because once you start seeing that, they become more confident, as we spoke about earlier, to take the next step, where it might be coming into the gym, or it might be joining us on a hike, or it might be, doing various other things like that.
Fantastic. And I really noticed, particularly with yourself and Michael, that real overlap between the world of a men's group and physical exercise, and how you shared about your own journey sort of through men's groups into the project that you're creating. And Michael talked about how that sort of stretch session at the end has become almost like a men's circle. Thinking about a lot of other kind of PT instructors and people working with men in more sort of like not mental health or ways. What are the skills you think you need to be able to do that piece well? And do you need special training, or is what what do you think it takes?
I think you definitely need a listening skill. We've got a couple trainers, and we always talk about holding space. So, when someone's talking, we don't ask follow-up questions. We don't kind of interrupt. We just let them talk. And sometimes there might be a period of silence, but we just let them talk. For me, and this is something we're also working on at the moment, I did a mental health first aid. I think it's something that PT trainers should all do. Just because a lot of PTs will say, and I'm sure the PTs in the group will agree with me here, sometimes you're just a counsellor. Like the client will come in and they just kind of, they'll just explode the whole day on you. You just got to, listen, and you try not to offer advice because you're not a professional. But the mental health first aid, and we're in the process of kind of myself becoming a qualified mental health first aid trainer, but then making the course around personal training and allied health and stuff like that. So for all the trainers, and for the trainers that are with Beyond the Barbell, they've all done mental health first aid, and we're just huge about listening and holding space.
Fab. And Lucky?
Yeah, the mental health first aid is a big one. I've done a few, but I think the main one would be emotional intelligence, just because you want to be able to really empathize and be compassionate with people. As you, majority of the time, as Michael said, you do feel like a counselor. So And I think to add to that is also having a good network. So we've got referrals to psychologists and other professionals in that space if people do need that as well. Because even from my experience, it's been too much for me to have to facilitate a lot of the conversations that go on as well. So we've got like allied health sort of slab there.
Great. And Warren, any thoughts you want to add on that sort of mental well-being, emotional well-being side of what you do?
I think I'd agree with both of those points just before there. We definitely are underpaid therapists for some of the time. When you think about what therapists can charge compared to PT, and yeah, we're not qualified to offer advice, but I tell you what, we go through a decent mental stretch trying to come up with solutions and stuff like that for this stuff. But I think it's a huge, I guess it's an underrated, just not discussed enough aspect of it. Most of my male clients used to enjoy just having a chat more than the actual session. So I definitely think it's important. Yeah, I would agree. Maybe some kind of awareness training would be a good idea as part of like the level 3 before they actually send young guys out, young girls out as well.
Yeah.
But
Wonderful. Yeah, you and barbers are another one who are very lowly paid therapists. Yeah, there's some great projects at the moment. Training barbers in mental health first aid to have those kind of those deeper conversations with blokes. But you three guys, you're really inspiring. The yoga guys challenged me earlier to do some more stretching, and I thought that was tough. But compared to doing more lifting, I think I prefer more stretching. So you'll have me reflecting on my own personal fitness regime. I'm very inspired by what you guys are doing, and not just the way you're living your lives, but the difference you're making for the men that use your services. Thanks, the three of you, for providing a fantastic session today. Right, I'll just ask our president, Greg Milan, if he wants to say a few words before he about today's event, before he sort of chips off, and then I'll announce the projects that have been shortlisted. Greg, any closing thoughts from you today?
Yeah, okay. Thanks, Glenn. Look, it's been good, this whole session. It's been great to hear from everyone throughout the afternoon doing all this amazing work. I particularly enjoyed this last session today. I've just gone back to a gym about 2 months ago now. I go to a specialised gym, and I go to a longevity course for people over 65. So it's very specific to my age, and it's wonderful because I have mobility issues from past cancer treatment that I've had. And I finally decided I can't do it on my own, but I'm pretty good with a group of other people. So it's been an interesting experience for me. And as you three guys have identified, I think, your age groups, but it's very important for people, older men in their 60s, to work with people who are specialised in that area, and do a lot of, stretching and development things. And so it's been really interesting to hear what you guys are doing, and just picking up a point that Glenn made too, the mix that we've got going on between not only exercise but some men's group stuff that you're doing as well, the getting men to spend time with each other and develop social support, and that's been all really wonderful. I do have to go. I'll be back in and out of Men's Health Connected, and I hope that you can come into some more sessions for the rest of the week, and hope that you've enjoyed today. So thanks, everybody. Thanks, Glenn and the team.
Time, Greg. Thank you.
I need to go. Okay, thank you.
One of Greg's roles today has been helping us on the behind-the-scenes voting panel before we hand over and I introduce Ben Crowley from Bulk Nutrients. So, as a reminder, and this has been really tough, there's hardly been, we've used a point system, and there's basically been 1 point between the different projects. So every single one of you is an absolute winner. We chose you because we knew, or we sensed, that you were doing great work that deserved to be shared and heard by more people. I think everyone who's been in and out of the room today has really valued listening to what you've had to say. But as a reminder, we chose Billy from the Penrith Men's Walk and Talk from session 1. We chose Tim from the yoga session. we've chosen Joe Milios of Prost from the third session. Congratulations, Joe. And out of those last three guys, we couldn't split them, but we had to, and we've gone with Lackey. So well done. My northern accent from England, is it Lockie? He's gone.
Oh, no, I'm there. It's Lockie.
Lockie, I keep calling you Lackey. It's because of my silly northern England accent. Lockie, well done, well deserved.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
So we've got Billy, we've got Tim, we've got Joe, we've got Lockie. I'm going to hand over to Ben Crowley and say hello, Ben, and ask if you'd just like to introduce yourself and tell us a bit about bulk nutrients and why you're supporting projects like this. I think Ben's. Are you there, Ben? Certainly can see his name there.
You're muted at the moment, Ben. I see, maybe you're.
Yep, okay, let's see if this works now. You guys can hear me now?
Yes.
Great, okay, sorry, for some reason my computer has quite a complex unmuting system. No, look, it was great being part of it. So yeah, look, Bulk Nutrients, we're a manufacturer of sport supplements. So we get ingredients from all around the world and manufacture everything in Tasmania. These are protein powders and weight loss products, pre-workout products for sport, health and fitness. And then we distribute them Australia-wide direct to customers. So we're doing a program at the moment, you know, the $1,000 a day for 100 days. And I believe that Jess was familiar with the group, the Men's Health Connected. And yeah, I guess wanted to open up what we were doing with our incentive to a wider group like this. Yeah, look, I was involved today. I didn't watch all the presentations, but I watched about half of them. And then I've read up separately about the different organizations and what everyone's doing. And yeah, it was great. I mean, I think the thing that impressed me most is that like all of these people have very, very clearly have this, you know, personal motivation to, you know, improve the lives of people. And there were so many personal touches, you know, whether they'd suffered depression themselves or previous health issues or whatever else. And it was just, I don't know, we consider ourselves a very community focused company. And it was just so nice seeing, you know, so many people with no, I guess, absolutely no financial reward wanting to do this stuff. So yeah, it was really nice being part of it and just seeing so many people across Australia do that. But I have to pick a winner, do I?
Yeah, so can we get each of the shortlisted projects just to say hello and maybe even say what they do if they had $1,000?
Yeah, that would be great. Yeah.
Yeah. So we'll go in order that they appeared in the day. I mean, no more than a minute. If you go on for more than a minute, no begging or crying, please. Be fair, but just introduce yourself to Ben to summarize your project in short, and maybe give an indication of what you could do with $1,000. So Billy Beggs from the Penrith Men's Walk and Talk in the Blue Mountains.
Yep. Hi Ben, thanks for doing this. It's really been great coming along here today, and with that extra motivation of $1,000. Yeah, we put some good opportunities and programs over today. Look, we are a men's walk and talk. We walk around the local river here, 6.5 kilometers every Thursday evening. We get great support from the local business community and community in general. What will we do with $1,000? We don't get any money from anyone. We don't have membership. We have nothing really. We rely on people doing things for us, raising money. I think we would get more shirts. Everyone that comes to our walk, all the new guys, they want one of these shirts that I'm wearing now. It's sort of our trademark. And when people see like 200-300 guys walking sometimes, all dressed in the same way, they want to know what's happening. What's these guys doing? So more shirts for us would definitely be the thing. Thank you.
Just stand up so we can actually see the shirt as well, Billy. And say something so you come back on the screen.
Yep. Consent there. All good.
All good. Excellent. Right. Good pitch. So we'll go to Tim Oddie from Geelong, who's running yoga for men. Are you there, Tim? Oh.
Is that better?
Yay.
Yeah, cool. Yeah, look, we'd use the money to run more programs with men, and as I mentioned in my presentation, as part of a research directive, basically. Because I think if we can get a number of men involved, get some really credible research out of that, then indeed we can really change the landscape. Because if we can get that into emergency services and other places where people are suffering great levels of trauma, I think there can be huge changes. And because I think physicality is absolutely imperative, but it's not enough. It needs a mindfulness component to really penetrate into people's psyche and really help in the regard of trauma and PTSD. And I think there's a bit of a tsunami coming, to tell you the truth, given what we've all been through. And yeah, I think we're in for a rough time, and I think we're going to need processes to help us deal with that what's coming.
Right. Thank you, Tim. Thanks for what you're doing, and thanks for putting that pitch forward.
And I don't want to be negative. I'm just, I just think we need to be prepared. Essentially, yeah.
Got it. Thank you. Okay. Third of the four, we move to Joe. Joe, who is in WA and still at the Prost exercise group for men with prostate cancer. Over to you, Joe. Need to unmute Joe. Yes.
All right. Thanks, Glenn. Prost was set up 10 years ago now, and it's all about men who are dealing with prostate cancer. We have guys attending our groups. There's 9 groups running weekly now, from the age of 37 to about 85. So we've got lots of age groups. That can be really helpful, because even guys who are long recovered from their prostate cancer, treatments and surgeries become a great advocate and support for others, and they kind of like get quite a lot of self-satisfaction about helping anyone else through it. So the PROS program is dedicated to men with prostate cancer to help build their mood, their muscle and mateship during a fairly critical time of their lives. And a lot of the time it's just, as everyone else has talked about, having a chat, sharing experiences and not feeling that loneliness at all. So we're on a campaign to help spread the prostate cancer awareness, or PROST exercise for prostate cancer, across Australia now. We've linked up with our waffle here, and we're hoping to have talks and expansions with the AFL in the future, or in fact any place that blokes like to go that's male friendly. We don't have a lot of money, being a not-for-profit. Basically it's paid for it by itself, but we do have one advertising campaign, and that's teaching men about pelvic floor. And we have a bumper sticker called Nuts to Guts. So I like to teach men to lift their pelvic floor muscles by activating here, nuts to guts. And I'd love to get these bumper stickers printed up in the thousands with that $1,000 mark, because we don't have excess money for that. And it always brings a smile, and doing your pelvic floor exercises helps any man of any age with even sexual function, continence function and pain reduction. So my $1,000 would hopefully print about 2,000 plus more of these. Thank you.
Thanks, Joe, and apologies for my voice because I'm just practicing that now. And finally, now over. It's been a long day. I'm sorry, folks. Back to a man we've just spent some time with quite recently. Back to our final finalist. Back to Lockie.
Doesn't actually look like we have Lockie in the call then.
Oh, he's dropped off. Oh, I need to rush out as a client. I'm really sorry. I wish I could stay. Just if you missed it, Lockie runs the Man That Can project in Toowoomba. He's very physical exercise orientated, but also really wanted to bring the world of men's groups where men sort of like, share and connect and support each other. And he has a 12-week, he's built a great community in Toowoomba, and he has a 12-week program that takes men through looking at not just their physical well-being, but every area of their lives. So they rate a bit of life coaching type approach, but in a community. And I don't know what he'd do with $1,000, but I'm sure he'd be very pleased to have it if he got it. Over to you, Ben, for the enviable task.
No worries. Yeah, look, it's difficult. I did see most of the presentations. But yeah, I think I'm going to go with the walking group, and mainly because I just really love how basic it is. There's a fellow that I deal with at the moment. I'm doing a mate's mentoring thing with my sister who works for Red Cross, and it's really interesting to work with people who, you know, this guy he's lived in Tasmania all his life. He's in his 60s. He's never been in a plane. You know, he just lives a really sort of basic life because of, you know, a lot of mental illness challenges and stuff he's had. But when I kind of think of people like him that are very isolated, I think of what is the thing that maybe they're most likely to kind of, you know, reach out and get involved in. And don't get me wrong, look, all of these endeavors have huge merit, but when I'm thinking of people like that, I think that maybe just the basic walking is going to make the biggest difference for him, you know. So yeah, I will award the $1,000 prize to the walking group. So
thank you, congratulations, Billy from Penrith Men's Walk and Talk. Do you want to say a few words?
Thank you so much, Ben. That is amazing. That'll go a long way to supporting our group. Look, and I just wanted to say too that it's been brilliant hearing all these grid initiatives going on in the different areas. You know, it sort of gives guys in those areas a focus. And I think once they get their focus, once they get that connection back, it leads them on to doing other things, like going into a gym, like going out cycling, walking. So this is brilliant. Thank you so much.
Right.
My pleasure. Our pleasure. Yep.
Thank you. So that's it. We're done. Congratulations, Billy. Thanks to all the great projects that presented today. Every single one of them driven by a passionate individual making a difference to the lives of dozens and hundreds and thousands and tens of thousands of men across Australia, and as we heard today, even across the globe. Thanks to all of you who've participated, those of you who've simply watched, those of you who've asked great questions, those of you who are doing great work yourselves but didn't get the chance to champion the great work that you do. I can see there's some great connections made today, so you're exchanging contact details. I can see there's been a lot of inspiration today from our speakers, and really thank Ben from Bulk Nutrients for also giving that extra bit of spice to today's event with that $1,000 donation, which I'm sure will be very well used in Penrith. Thank you all.
No worries. Thank you. Great job.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.